more than 1 an hour. It crashed just as a police chase began, hurling the hijacker through the windscreen. The 32-year-old had been assessed by a doctor. There was nothing to suggest he'd turned violent. In fact, he was riding in the front passenger seat of the ambulance.
1, 2, 3, straight up.
Suffering massive injuries, the man died in hospital. The coroner is investigating. Darren Roberts, 10 News.
There was a touch of the old 1-2 at today's Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. The McLarens dominated the race from start to finish, but favourite Michael Schumacher was an early victim.
Melbourne turned on its best for race day, and race fans followed suit. There could be no doubting their dedication, their outfits as varied as their tips on the winner.
Eddie Irvine.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Early winners were said to be the tens of thousands of fans who opted for public transport, and Commonwealth and Olympic Games organisers were in town to see how it was all done.
They're actually very impressed and are learning a lot of lessons.
On and over the circuit, the entertainment was everywhere and everything. A fly past by an FA-18.
Oh, there you go, who was that?
A spectacular drop-in by parachute.
Sneaking up on the inside, but oh, there you go.
And a show of feelings by a race favourite. Then, just before 2 o'clock, 11-year-old Hayley Aitken sang the song of her young life. Just 11 minutes into the race, it was all over for a very disgruntled Schumacher. The race turned into a two-way battle between the McLarens.
And Hakkinen takes the lead now.
It was a very emotional Mika Hakkinen who took the honours.
After all, the overall result was what I wanted to be.
Norm Beeman, 10 News.
And we'll have a full report on the race later in Sports Tonight. But when the late news continues, growing fears of new bloodshed as Serb forces continue their sweep into Kosovo. And even more changes to boost the popularity of Britain's monarchy.
.30 Monday, Lynn discovers the ancient form of the martial art Tai Chi. Tim gives some great advice on investment properties. And Mira makes a fabulous snack.
I make some very, very special little pizzas.
On Healthy, Wealthy and Wise, 7:30 Monday.
It's Hyundai's end of summer sale. Lantra has the powerful 1.8-litre twin-cam engine. Free air conditioning ends soon. Lantra is big value at $19,990 drive away. Hurry to Hyundai's end of summer sale.
I'm Mr. Sheen. I'm Mr. Sheen. And just look at all the surfaces I clean.
All your crime will shine so bright.
Fridges turn from grey to white. Thank you. And I'll wipe away the filth from your TV.
I'm Mr. Sheen. On wood I'll gleam.
And I'll make your mirrors positively beam. And your blinds, my how they'll shine. Even leather comes up high. Cleaning up is such a breeze with Mr. Sheen.
Jacko, you look great.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I feel
really
really
good. How much have you
good.
lost since you started the new men's program?
Heaps. 10 kilos already, and
Oh,
it's
what was
going
the best
really...
part? The food?
Oh, the food's great. I'm never hungry, but the part I really like
I
is the...
bet it was the consultants. They really know how to look after you, don't they? Don't you think it's great the way that Jenny Craig has designed a program just for men?
They really seem to have all the answers.
You can turn your weight around in just 10 weeks for only $49. Food additional. Call Jenny Craig on 131 992.
An escaped criminal with the perfect cover.
From now on, we're firefighters.
A smoke jumper caught in the line of fire.
You were headed into a backfire.
Killer. Now, it's time to fight fire with fire. Howie Long, Firestorm.
It's over. And we're not taking anything with us. Everything's marked down.
Times run out. Times run out. Run out. Run out.
The prices, they're ridiculous.
Design cool cover sets 40% off, 50% off, 60% off, 70% off. Some machine sets up to 70% off. Every luxury towel at cost or below cost. $200,000 of designer bed linen. Prices crash. 36 Richmond Road, Keswick, open every day this week. Last day.
To world news now, and amid fears of a new civil war in the Balkans, Britain and America have backed European demands that Serbia cease all military action in Kosovo. At least 70 people are reported to have been killed in the latest Serb push against the ethnic Albanian stronghold of Drenica in northern Kosovo.
Ethnic Albanian refugees continue to stream across the hills of central Kosovo.
This baby was born during the flight from the village of Prekaz, which is at the heart of the Serbian security operation. The woman explains that everyone is still too terrified to return to their homes. The police operation against the Kosovo Liberation Army seems to be in its final stages. At a news conference, a police commander says action was necessary because of what he describes as a growing terrorist threat. The police display a large arsenal of weapons they say were seized from KLA homes. This is reputed to be the KLA commander, reportedly killed in the police offensive. The authorities say these weapons have been used against both Serb police and civilians, and also Albanians labelled as collaborators. This is what the Serbian authorities want to keep hidden from the outside world. Homes are set on fire or demolished by police armoured vehicles. This is punitive, not military action. As such, it will mean more international condemnation of Serbia. A conflict will probably continue here for some time to come, with both sides deaf to pleas of restraint from the international community.
UN teams have completed a second day of weapons inspections in Iraq without any sign of hindrance. Observers say a country visit has sent President Saddam Hussein's popularity soaring even higher.
Iraqi television devoted most of its evening newscast to the visit of President Saddam Hussein to the Nineveh provinces in the north of the country. The commentary said the visit of the president sparked an outpouring of joy, which was expressed by songs, dances, and the ritual slaughter of sheep. The Iraqi president, casually dressed and appearing relaxed, was shown meeting with villagers in their homes. He handed out sweets and fruit to children, as parents and grandparents looked on. In Baghdad, meanwhile, there were few details of the day's activities by the UN weapons inspectors. The Iraqi news agency said a total of 12 sites had been visited and reported no problems. There was no immediate comment from the UN spokesman's office in the Iraqi capital. Iraq has now restricted the international media from covering the activities of UNSCOM. Even their departure from their headquarters in Baghdad is off limits to the cameras. The reason appears to be to keep inspectors such as Scott Ritter out of the limelight. But the press was encouraged to cover the arrival of a consignment of foodstuffs and medicines from Yemen. 35 tons of aid was flown in from a country whose own economic situation is as precarious as Iraq's.
More freak weather is bringing chaos to the British Isles, with flooding in Wales and blizzards in the north. Thousands of Scots are without power, and most road and rail travel is blocked by ice and snowdrifts.
Much of the north and northeast of Scotland woke up this morning to a foot-deep blanket of snow. February was one of the mildest on record, but overnight, winter blew in with a vengeance. Snowdrifts up to 10 feet in places blocked minor routes, and dozens of other roads were impassable to most vehicles. The conditions caused a number of accidents, though there are no reports of any serious injuries. Engineers have been working round the clock to repair countless power failures which left 20,000 consumers in the dark and blacked out television transmitters. But the scale of the damage means some people will spend a second night without electricity. Snowdrifts 20 feet deep brought rail services north of Inverness to a halt, and the crew of a snowplough had to be rescued by RAF helicopter when they got stuck. 5 climbers emerged safe and well after digging in for the night when the weather caught them out in the Cairngorms. And to cap it all, an earthquake measuring 2.7 on the Richter scale caused a landslide which has closed one of the main roads in Argyll.
And in Wales, overnight storms brought record floods. Scores of communities are isolated, with roads cut and hundreds of hectares of farmland underwater. And across the Atlantic, El Niño is blamed for leaving dozens of Californian homes in danger of toppling into the sea. Severe storms sent 6-metre swells crashing against the shore, triggering huge landslides that left many with an uncertain future.
You know, they said when we moved in that we'd lose about a foot a year, but no one expected this El Niño, I guess.
For many, there are only 2 options: rebuild or walk away. But El Niño isn't all bad news. It's also promoting new life. It's been credited with the early hatching of this rare Californian condor chick at a San Diego wildlife park. Officials say unusually heavy rains spawned by El Nino trigger the nesting instinct in many birds. The Californian condor in particular has been laying much more eggs earlier this year. Extra groundwater from floods provides more abundant food, improving the survival chances of many endangered species. The Queen has put forward more changes to streamline the royal family. Although still favouring gradual change, the Queen is stepping up moves to make the monarchy more attractive to the public.
Aware of persistent criticism that the royal family is too extended, the Queen is considering restricting the badge of membership, the title HRH. At the moment, it's used by 22 of the family. In the future, it may be that only the sovereign and heir will be entitled to it. It's unlikely, though, that the present members of the family, such as Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, will be stripped of their titles. Bowing and curtsying to royalty has, for many years, been a matter the palace has left to personal choice. Now, though, it's formalised that position by sending a letter to all Lords Lieutenant, stressing that it is optional. But it adds that the family would be grateful to those who decide to follow tradition.
These tentative moves towards a less austere monarchy are the result of the latest meeting of the Way Ahead group, headed by the Queen. Although she is by nature wary of change, it seems she's holding true to her words that lessons must be learned from the death of the Princess of Wales, who was herself obliged to give up her HRH.
Further changes may be pending, but the way ahead favoured by the Queen and her advisers is for reform to be gradual.
Next in 10's late news, brawling youths again terrorised residents of a Perth suburb. And a best friend's story brings joy to a young blind author.
Charles Grodin's running for his life.
You don't look like an FBI agent to me.
Robert De Niro is a bounty hunter, chasing his biggest payday.
How much exactly are you getting for me? 100,000.
From the director of Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, 8:30 Monday on 10.
As individual players, we're not bad. But as a partnership, we're just about unbeatable.
I've got a financial partner like that. MLC.
What's their game?
Better returns for less risk.
Can they deliver?
If you'd invested in MLC's balanced fund in 1988, you'd have more than doubled your money by now.
Yeah? Is the service any good?
Better than yours. If money matters, talk to MLC.
Drink the rhythm.
Now, at your local Keno agent, there's a chance to win $1 million every 5 minutes with Keno Spot 10. Pay $1, pick 10 numbers, and 5 minutes later, Keno! Remember, there's $1 million to be won every 5 minutes in Keno!
Giving hope and independence to those who are blind and vision impaired is what the Royal Society for the Blind is all about. Serving South Australians for 114 years, the Society provides free services such as adaptive technology, a talking book library, employment and training. Because it doesn't telemarket or door knock, the Society needs your donation and support to help SA's blind and vision impaired. It can't cure blindness, but it can ease the heartache. The Royal Society for the Blind, proudly supported by Channel 10.
Gate crashes have ruined another Perth party, turning it into an all-out brawl, with fire crews attacked, vehicles vandalised and houses wrecked. The trouble began when more than 300 uninvited guests turned up at a teenage celebration.
It was a party for 600. It ended up as a riot when 350 gate crashers went on a rampage. Police in riot gear were called, teenagers hurling bottles, smashing windows and terrorising neighbours. This morning, owners returned to find their near-new homes wrecked.
They've smashed all the windows, chipped all the walls. It's just senseless vandalism.
There's got to be something done about people holding parties. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, you know, I don't know how many thousands of dollars damage there is here.
The owners were due to shift into their homes in a few weeks. The damage means that's not going to happen. If the damage wasn't bad enough, when fire officers arrived, they were bashed, their vehicles attacked, and nearly $7,000 worth of equipment stolen.
Trying to put out a grass fire that was started after they got here, and one was attacked, as you're aware, and received some bruising to the cheek and mouth area.
This morning, fire officers returned to try and recover some of their stolen property, but they weren't the only ones returning to the street. Residents furious as some partygoers came back for a look.
So it just keeps coming back. They keep coming back having a look. They don't know what they've done.
When we all decided to leave, all these cops come up here and that's what started it.
What have the police got to do with it?
I don't know,
the
but as soon
police
as
didn't start the fight. The police didn't throw the bricks through the houses.
Police made 7 arrests, but investigations into the damage are continuing with further charges possible. Graham Butler, 10 News.
The North Queensland dive company involved with missing Americans Thomas and Eileen Lonergan on the Great Barrier Reef is to be charged. The couple was apparently left behind after a dive trip to the reef last January. Pieces of their equipment have been found, but extensive searches have revealed no clues to their fate. The state government says the prosecution will be under workplace health and safety laws, with penalties of up to $300,000. Moves by some states to tone down national gun laws have come under fire in Melbourne. Church, union and community leaders called on all states to honour the National Firearms Agreement.
Anger today over Victorian government moves to amend national gun laws passed in the wake of the Port Arthur tragedy.
Disbelief is the only word I can really use. I mean, I thought Australians have won this battle.
Walter Meekak, whose wife and 2 young children were among the 35 victims, rallied with community leaders to fight the changes, as they did so almost 2 years ago when thousands lobbied and won the fight for stricter gun laws.
For this weakening now to occur, I think, would be another tragedy.
The changes include reducing the 28-day cooling-off period for existing gun owners and allowing members of field and game shooting associations access to semi-automatic weapons. Queensland is considering similar moves.
My government remains absolutely committed to the full maintenance throughout Australia without qualification.
Calls today for Victorian Premier Jeff Kennett to resist pressure from the gun lobby. The Victorian government argues the changes would improve, not weaken the gun laws. The gun control lobby strongly disagrees.
It would be absolutely tragic that something as monumental as that could be threatened by, lack of consultation.
Kim Carter, 10 News.
The Queensland Government has committed emergency relief funds to help flood-bound communities in the Gulf country. Premier Rob Borbidge says $100,000 will be spent transporting food and emergency supplies to Corumba, with a further $20,000 going to mosquito eradication. Mr Borbidge says local shires will also be consulted this week to ensure adequate funding is available for other work. But in Perth, a critical water shortage is threatening the city, with authorities warning of restrictions next summer. Failed wet seasons and a jump in usage have left reservoirs well below capacity.
A hot, dry summer has seen water usage hike 10%, while the heavens haven't opened regularly enough to replenish supply. If winter brings no rainfall, the Water Corporation fears water restrictions could be enforced next summer.
Water restrictions would mean only being able to use sprinklers on set days of the week, and at the extreme case, not being able to use sprinklers outside at all.
At the moment, Canning Dam is at just 33% capacity. This time last year, it was 45% full.
There's no possibility that we will run out of water. It's simply a question of perhaps not being able to use as much on the garden.
From today, the water conservation message will hit television screens, urging consumers to conserve water during autumn.
So turn over a new leaf. You'll be saving on your water bills and reducing the risk of water shortages next summer.
Candice Scroy, 10 News.
A high-tech helping hand for a young Perth writer who's lost the joy of reading. Catherine Bubb lost her sight in an accident when she was 15. But today, a story she wrote about her best friend Florian won a national writers' competition. The prize, a Robotron reading machine that can scan any printed material, then read it back seconds later. For Catherine, it means one of life's simple pleasures is again within reach. Still ahead in the late news, what the weather has in store, plaudits for Gianni Versace's successor, and Matthew White with Sports Tonight.
Tracy, tonight the first test between Australia and India evenly poised. The 1-2 finish for McLaren in the Australian Grand Prix. We've got the AFL's Ansett Cup, and a 23-year-old Tasmanian wins golf's Tour Championship at Royal Canberra.
It's Hyundai's end of summer sale. Lantra has the powerful 1.8 litre twin cam engine. Free air conditioning ends soon. Lantra is big value at $19,990 drive away. Hurry to Hyundai's end of summer sale.
Every 5 minutes, lots of people win Keno Spot 5, the easy-to-play instant money game. Pay $1, pick 5 numbers, and 5 minutes later, you can win $500 with Keno! To be won every 5 minutes in Keno!
McDonald's presents the original Big Mac meal for $4.45. The one and only Big Mac with an icy cold Coke and world-famous French fries. The Big Mac meal at only $4.45. No wonder it's still wanted.
Modern China's on the move. They're even brewing Fosters here. But mate, if Chung Lee knew that every time he enjoyed a Foster's he was helping our Australian athletes compete against China at the Sydney 2000 Olympics, I think he'd have a pretty big decision to make. Thanks, China.
Landcare Australia, the race to save our waters.
This little fella's one of the million trees that will help make the Murray a healthier river.
The Mullangadra Landcare Group and these kids are just a few of the thousands helping to save the river and its tributaries. The trees help prevent salt ruining the soil and erosion of the riverbanks. A healthy catchment means a healthy river for paddlers like me and everyone who depends on it. Let's all Landcare Australia. Proudly presented by the Uncle Toby's Company.
Adelaide Faces for Adelaide Places, the friendly information service operating throughout the Adelaide Festival and the Adelaide Fringe. Discover the many faces of Adelaide, the festivals, the museums, the galleries, libraries and theatres, the shopping, the 19th century buildings, cafes and clubs. Adelaide Faces for Adelaide Places offers you free information, and it's as easy as asking a face on the street or a face in one of Adelaide's cultural institutions. Adelaide Faces for Adelaide Places, proudly sponsored by Channel 10.
Now to the weather and what we can expect for the start of the new week. Today brought fine weather as forecast to Cairns and Townsville, fine and 28 degrees in Brisbane, windy and warm in Sydney, fine and 21 for Canberra. It was fine and cool in Hobart and Melbourne, Adelaide fine and 26, local showers around Perth, dusty across the centre and fine in the top end. The satellite shows scattered clouds still over Western Australia and the tropics, with some lighter cover around the south and southeast. Tomorrow's synoptic chart has that high moving slowly into Bass Strait as a series of low pressure systems cross the west and north of the continent. So tomorrow, continuing fine conditions for Cairns and Townsville, clear and 28 degrees in Brisbane. Mostly fine and 24 for Sydney and Canberra, fine and 19 in Hobart, fine and hot for Adelaide, a few more showers around Perth, clear across the centre and mainly fine for Darwin. The sister of murdered fashion guru Gianni Versace received a warm reception as she unveiled her latest creations in Milan. Donatella Versace's second collection since taking over the label revealed a little less flesh than usual, but it was still daring. Necklines and backlines still plunged, and the theme was simple: diamonds are a girl's best friend. Diamonds featured from head to toe, encrusted on elegant evening gowns and fused into techno fabrics. Leather and fur remained popular, and she moved towards more casual attire. The showstopper was a soft, flowing, diamond-encrusted gown modelled by Naomi Campbell, Gianni's favourite. A standing ovation greeted Donatella when she took the catwalk at the end of the parade. And that's all in 10's late news for now. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our next national bulletin is with Jason Cameron at 11:30 in the morning. But stay with us now for all the action in Sports Tonight with Matthew White. I'm Tracy Spicer. Good night.
Tonight's late news brought to you by Hyundai Elantra and MLC, where money matters. Dynamo Danny Minogue and the inside scoop on the girls from Greece. Lifting the mask on Leonardo. How can he cope with the Titanic rise? All's not well in the Savage Garden. And which Aussie star does this woman predict big things for? That's E! News, 8 o'clock Tuesday.
In Sports Tonight, Sunday, March 8th. The tail shows some cheek in Chennai. Another Aussie fight back levels the first test. Fast times and good sports. A quinella for the McLaren mates in the Australian GP. Playoff perfection for Matthew Goggin in the grand finale of the golfing season. And the FA Cup team that cried wolf. Stick around, this is Sports Tonight.
Hello, I'm Matthew White. Welcome to Sports Tonight, a full melting pot of what sport is all about tonight. Adversity, heartbreak, success and superstars. And also a rare show of sportsmanship from where you'd least expect it, the flashy world of Formula Ones. But first, spin and win in Chennai. That could well be how the first test between Australia and India is decided. Tonight, the test is tight. We had our noses in front, only to see India belt Shane Warne to end day 3 with a 29-run lead. Will it turn back Australia's way? Warne and Gavin Robertson could hold the key.
A sign of things to come. Australia's batsmen shadowboxing, while Shane Warne lost his fight for 17. Gavin Robertson and Ian Healy donned the gloves for what may yet be a match-winning partnership.
That'll produce his 50.
Coming together at 8 for 201, they swept past Indians' total with spirit and sprints.
And good running by Healy.
Among their achievements, a record 9th wicket stand for Australia against India. Healy eventually out 10 short of a deserved century.
There's a top edge, and it's taken.
9 for 297, and the tail continued wagging. Content Mark Taylor said hello to home, but the Indians could be excused for curses no mum would be proud of as the number 10 on debut passed 50.
So Gavin Robertson brings up his 50 with a boundary to cover point.
Robertson last out for 57, Australia 328 with a lead of 71. All the pressure on India. After a promising start, Nyan Mongia felt a cramp, then a bowling change. Greg Blewett.
Oh, it's beautifully bowled. That'll be close. He's given him.
1 for 43. The rest of the session, a fiery battle. Warne versus Navjot Sidhu.
And Mark Taylor grabbed that, but wasn't an edge. Shane Warne thinks so. Umpire then says no. Mark Taylor really hasn't appealed to any great extent.
Between the appeals, some calculated aggression as India overhauled the deficit and Sidhu took the points, mauling Warne's final over.
He's gone for it. The flipper for more. And now down the wicket. That's the biggest of them all. This is a huge hit. That would be 6 on any ground anywhere in the world. This is an amazing shot. Brings up 50 for Navjot Sidhu.
1 for 100 at stumps. 2 days remaining.
And Sidhu is definitely the danger man. He's 55 not out. Australia's innings was typically full of fight. Healy and Robertson almost cracked the ton for the 9th wicket. 57 for Gavin Robertson, continuing a great start to his first test. There's still a round to go in the Sheffield Shield, but Tasmania is through to the final after beating New South Wales by 9 wickets in Hobart. Blues bat Michael Bevan did his best to lift the visitors. He scored 65. But it was Tasmania's Colin Miller who was the star of the day. He took Bevan's wicket on his way to figures of 6 for 75. That's a total of 10 wickets for Miller for the match. And the Tigers' opponents in the final, Western Australia, who beat Victoria at the WOC. The Warriors won it by 112 runs despite a spirited 95 from Brad Hodge. With the threat of rain in Perth, Western Australia wrapped up outright points just after lunch. Sean Carey and Mark Atkinson sharing the spoils. They claim 4 wickets each. And with a match to play, WA will remain joint shield leaders with Tasmania. The reason for that is this. It's because the defending champions Queensland could only manage a draw against South Australia. The Bulls unable to bowl out the home side, who finished their second dig 7 for 2.